Bat Force Radio.
Bat Force Radio is rated M for mature, or should that be immature?
Hey guys, Dustin Wynn.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Tom King. I write Batman Bitch, and this is Bat Force Radio.
All right, welcome to Bat Force Radio, the Batman/DC podcast with no limits. Exciting night tonight, exciting guest. But let me just get the panel out of the way. I got Bat Force Tom over in sunny California.
Hey guys, actually, Tom's not here right now, but it's me, Dan DiDio. Just saying hi. Clay, get back to work, please.
Hey, Dan, if you start censoring those bat pains, man, we're gonna have a problem. So get Black Label unscrewed.
Gotta make the fans happy. Okay, sorry about that.
And I got Robin Cross up in Canada.
What's happening?
Take us away.
Okay, so a lot of stuff has been going on lately. Black Label is the biggest thing this week, with a lot of really undue controversy. But this coming week, we're getting back to just some things that'll be big topics, just because they're good stories that people are into. So this is someone that we've wanted to talk to for a while. He made sort of his break into DC with the Poison Ivy Cycle of Life and Death miniseries. He's done work on Trinity, on Tom King's Batman run. He had some work in Action Comics 1000, and this week we finally get hit with the first issue of Tom King's Heroes in Crisis story. So joining us here tonight, just in time for Heroes in Crisis, is superstar artist Clay Mann.
Nice. Welcome.
Thank you so much for being here, Clay. First off, how's life treating you lately?
It's all right. Lots of deadlines. So I'm tired and I'm working as we talk. So
Sorry about that, Clay.
it's okay. Is that Dan?
Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, I really like Dan a lot.
Dude, we love Dan.
We love Dan.
Yeah. All the impressions, like there are Dan impressions on almost every episode, and it's done entirely out of love.
I believe you.
We got one of our members. You met him at San Diego, Jason. We were walking around San Diego last year, and we bumped into Dan coming. I think he was coming out of a panel, and I walked up to him and was like, "Oh, damn, man, what's going on?" Just wanted to say, at the time I think Rebirth had just kind of started, and I was like, "Rebirth is killing it at the shop I go to. Everyone loves all the titles and everything. Really great job on it. Just wanted to let you guys know that you guys are killing it." And he was like, "Oh, thank you so much. We love hearing that, from the fans. It's the best to hear it from the fans directly." And then Jason sees that I'm talking to Dan DiDio, and he just starts running after him. Dan, would you sign my book? And it was like, holy shit, caused kind of a scene. But yeah, we love him, man. We love Dan. More so because of the stuff that, the way he can kind of pick and choose things that end up being awesome and monstrous. So we're big fans.
Yeah, but going into you, Clay, do us a favor. Tell us about your journey as an artist, coming of age as an artist, into breaking into comics and being a professional artist and everything. How did that go? How did that journey take place?
Basically, I did what any kid was doing. I mailed my art in a lot to Marvel. I only Marvel. I didn't really care about DC Comics. And I got a couple letters back, telling me, keep trying. You're not good enough. That was in high school. I was really into it in high school. And right after high school, I met my current wife now. I totally stopped comics. And I was a plumber and a roofer. And spare time, I picked it back up. And I was just drawing for fun. And I started doing that all over again. And there was a kid in my town who actually was putting out an image book at the time he was writing it. I can't even tell you what it was, but basically let me do a splash page in the back of it. And I was always going to MegaCon. That was the only con I was going to. And he said, if you want to get a job in comics, you got to go to a real con. A month later, my brother and I bought tickets to Chicago, back when Wizard was like a good thing. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Not just autograph sessions.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we went there and it blew my mind. And I did portfolio reviews with Michael Turner, Aspen, and DC and Marvel. I was actually doing it for Aspen, and I don't know who I was doing it with, but they called Michael Turner over.
Wow.
And he liked my stuff, and they brought in one of the other guys there, Frank, maybe, I think it was. It's so funny because I don't think anybody believes me, but they said, do you want to come to California? And I was like, yeah. And I had just got married, and the second thing out of my mouth was, can my wife come? And I saw it on their face the second I said it. It just went away. And I was like, something just happened. It was pretty much over when I said that.
Oh, no.
I think that was a cool moment for me. Same con, Marvel and DC, both I got called back for their portfolio reviews. And then nothing came out of any of that. I got email tag with CB, and then he left Marvel, and that connection was gone. It was probably like 2 years of me just keep trying again. And it's kind of a bummer after that because I felt like I had such a great response, and it was just so exciting, and then to have nothing happen. And then, then another MegaCon came around, and Joe Quesada was going. And I was excited because Marvel and DC, they were never coming to MegaCon. It was always cross-gen and all that stuff. So, nothing like me, I made a shirt that said, I must meet Joe Quesada. I wore it. And I waited in. I was second one in his line behind some mother woman, and I waited hours for him to show up. And he shows up. I'm second in line. I'm so nervous. I've got a shirt that says I have to meet him, and I'm like, what am I doing? And I have my portfolio, and he said, I'm not doing portfolio reviews, and I was like, okay, well, he said, I'm not doing them now. I can do them later. But I've heard that before because I've been trying to get the job for a couple of years. So I didn't leave his desk. I went to the side of his table, and I sat there for a while. And then finally, he's like, let me take a look. And he looked at it, and he's like, this is good stuff. And he's like, I'm going to instruct someone to call you.
Wow.
And I think he could see it on my face that I didn't believe him. And he called me out on it. And I was like, I've heard that before. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm the EIC at Marvel or whatever he was at the time. So he's like, if I say I'm going to get back to you, I'll get back to you. And he did. He instructed. An editor reached out to me. And at the same time, for those years, I was sending in like massive, like 11 by 17 envelopes to Marvel constantly. So, I mean, I think a couple of people knew how I was because I was annoying them. But ever since then, I mean, Joe Quesada, I didn't get work right away, but like he personally would send me like Painkiller Jane scripts. He's like, draw this, send it to me. He'd critique it. I mean, he was super nice to me. I was a nobody. And he basically held my hand. He probably didn't even know it, but he was like keeping me going and keeping it exciting for me. And then finally I got like a backup story in a Marvel book, and I wanted to quit while I was doing it. It was an awful experience. Never had a deadline before, and I was leaving to go on a trip like the night before it was due. It was so bad, but I've been working in comics ever since. So, did
you tell your wife the story of when? Well, how did she respond when you told her that like the offer kind of went away after you asked if she can go?
Well, my wife also is a big reason I had the job because I love her to death, and she gets sad when I tell people this. But she told me she didn't think I could get the job.
Damn.
So that just made me work even harder, I guess, to do it.
Yeah.
But she knew nothing about comics. I was just like she had no idea what was going on. So for her to say that was just like another world. I don't hold anything against it. I tease her about it sometimes, and she gets.
It's like she's seen you do one thing, and then she just sees you out of nowhere, like trying to make it into this industry that she doesn't know anything about. It's as if like maybe you're just like, I'm just gonna become an actor. I'm gonna go to an audition in Hollywood or something. Probably it's just like so foreign to her to probably comprehend. So what about the experience at that first gig at Marvel made it so horrible? It was just the deadline specifically?
Yeah, it was just I never had worked under a deadline. I had a couple days. I don't even know how long I had to do it, but I was having a hard time. I mean, even to this day, I use way too much eraser. Like drawing for me, I say this all the time to Tom and anybody who's just like, oh, you can do it. It's not easy for me. Like, it's not a gift I was given. It is like, it's so hard for me to draw. Like, nothing feels natural. I get really upset when I see other artists that are so good naturally and just can do whatever they want quickly. And like,
yeah, those assholes.
Yeah, for me, it's just a struggle.
You can't tell looking at your work.
Yeah.
You can't tell that anything's a struggle. Like your work, especially recently, is looking as good as anybody's.
Yeah,
man.
Is one of my favorite covers earlier when Catwoman's kind of kneeling and Batman standing over, but the perspective is like they're looking down at you.
You would name an Olivier Coipel cover. You named one of my covers.
Uh-oh.
Wait.
Coipel. You did.
How dare you?
Are you talking about the Batman 50 cover, like where Batman and Catwoman are there, and it looks like they're looking down, and Joker's in the background behind them?
No, he's making stuff up now. He's talking one. I know which one he's talking about. It's okay. I like it.
You like that one too, then? All right, we'll turn this one around. My favorite one of the 50 covers. I didn't buy any of the fucking Batman 50 covers just because I didn't want to do it to myself. And it's just like, how many goddamn covers are they coming out with? The ones that I did buy were pretty much all yours. The one with the cake, is it? I don't know if it's a cake. I think they're on a statue, and it's Bruce and what's her name, Selena, behind the Batman and Catwoman on top of, I think, a building, and then the Joker behind the cake, and then like the Joker smiles on Catwoman and Batman, and then he's holding a knife, like a bloody knife. And was it the print or was it the issue that had the knife was like a foil? I think it was the print that I got from you.
Yeah, I think that's a print. I don't see that. I think that was in San Diego.
Yeah. So those covers, specifically, I think there was 3 of them that you did, where it was the one without like the bloody knife, then there was the one with like the loving expression, and then the one with the Joker with the bloody knife. I had to get all 3 of those. So I have all 3 individual issues, and then I got the prints too. Because, dude, it's crazy that you say that is it's difficult for you, because maybe it could be both ways. Maybe that is what we see too. We see like the meticulous detail and time that it takes you to go into these things, because some of that stuff, man, jumps out on the page. And then also, you did some of the was it Superman or Action Comics variants?
I did Action Comics.
Yeah, man, those are sick too. There's a bunch of them that you did on there that were pretty amazing. I think my favorite one, there was a Doomsday one that you did, I think. And it's like when there was 2 different Supermen. It was like Clark Kent, and then there was actually like the real Superman. Mm-hmm. And Doomsday's like behind him. That one was just awesome.
I did do that one. I did.
Yeah. There you go.
I know that one.
There you go.
That was my first Superman I ever drew for DC.
Just for redemption.
It's okay. Move on.
No, these guys me. These guys can vouch for me.
We're leaving this in.
When because all right, guys, who's my favorite rogue?
Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy.
You're supposed to say my name.
What were me and Trunk saying when Cycle of Life came out about the artwork? Seriously.
Was it the
Poison Ivy? The one with Amy Cho, is it that he drew?
Yeah, that Amy Chu.
Amy Chu. I hate that Poison Ivy.
Which one? The one that you drew?
Yeah, the
really?
one I drew. The only thing I like about that whole series is I think the cover to number 2 I still like. And I don't like anything else, especially the interiors.
Oh, this your own. You're talking about your own work,
Oh, well, yeah.
or like the character, the way she's
Oh,
portrayed.
no. Before I worked at DC, I heard that I was somewhere and they were talking about a Poison Ivy book, and I was just like, I want it
Yeah.
so bad. I'm gonna hurt a lot of, I'll make people mad. I love Poison Ivy, and I love her as a villain. That is my Poison Ivy, and I just had an idea that the book would be about the Ivy in my head, and that is not really what happened.
Right.
Clay, you're talking to the right people right now, man.
Yeah, you definitely you're in the right place.
I'll tell you this much right now.
We are not the Ivy is a hero crowd.
We hear you, man. I don't know what the deal is with trying to like morph her into this character, this like this hero. I don't know. It's just with you, man. We enjoy.
I mean, I don't mind if she's like, I think of Magneto like sometimes, and like he's good in his head, but
Yeah.
I mean he's not exactly a hero.
Yeah.
He can do, but like that's how I view her. I mean, so if she's a hero to some, I'm fine with that. It's just when I wanted to do the book, I was like, I thought Batman would be in it. I thought I would be drawing like, I don't know. It's just not really what I had in mind. I don't want people to think me saying this isn't that I didn't enjoy it. I was super excited about it. It's just I'm not the writer of it, so I just drew it. But
I think artists, people who create, probably will be able to sympathize with your take on it, because it is like, you have an idea of an assignment or something that you get to do, and you yourself, like you say, build up this expectation of what you're going to be able to do. And then if you're handed something that's completely different than that, then it's like, oh man, like it's almost like a missed opportunity, or it's you're kind of putting work into something that you weren't expecting. So, but at the same time, it's like it sucks because like you have to draw it, right? If you took the job, like you have to do it. And I'm just looking at that cover that you're talking about, issue number 2 with the cops. That's the one you're referring to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Damn.
Now, you said that you heard that book was coming and that you wanted it. Now, that was your first interior work for DC, I think. Like you had done some covers, but I think that was your first interior. How did you go about getting securing that job?
I had talked, because I was at Marvel. I love Marvel characters, but I left Marvel because I was, they're my first love, and I took all the abuse I could take, and I had to leave. But I say that kindly, but they wouldn't give me a raise, and they tried to do all this funny business with like a bonus. And I did the math on it, and they were giving me, like, it was ridiculous. It was like, and then at the time, Marvel was musical chairs, and I couldn't stay on a book, even though I wanted to. They had given me X-Men. They had offered me, a bonus and a higher page rate as long as I was X-Men. I was like, but I'll probably be off in X-Men 3 issues because that's what you guys been doing to me.
Damn.
And
man,
then they told me, I won't say his name, but he told me I couldn't get work anywhere else.
What the fuck?
Wow.
And at the time, I was already talking to DC. He said if I was talking to DC, I would have told him. And I was like, not necessarily. I was like, I don't want to leave Marvel. But Valiant had been knocking at my door for a long time, and I called Valiant up because I was so angry.
Wow.
And I doubled my rate. I told them what I made. I told them I want to double what Marvel paid me, and they said yes, and not even hesitating. And
wow.
It's just like, it blew my mind because
they were tiny.
Yeah, and I'm like, Marvel can't. I'm begging just for a couple dollars, and Valiant doubled my rate, and I had such a good time at Valiant.
Was this before the Resurgent people sold it?
Oh, wait, well, you mean just now with the movie stuff?
No, I mean, I think, I don't remember.
No, that was this was 2015, so that's during. I think that's during this current resurgence.
Yeah, so it was. I launched Ninjak and I loved it there. They gave me more time than I ever had. They asked me what I wanted to do. They treated me really good. I mean, the only reason I love Valiant is because, and I hate to say it, but they don't have a large fan base.
Yeah.
And I could feel it.
Yeah.
Like I was disappearing. The little bit of whatever I had was fading. And I'm like, well, this isn't going to help me in 5 years from now. Like no one,
Yeah.
I needed more than a paycheck for me. I needed a little bit more. I wanted try to get out there and,
you need people to know your name.
Yeah, and then I could go back to that later. I thought, if I had a name, and at the time, some of my money was like, in cons and selling stuff, and when I could just feel, when the X-Men stuff faded away, Valiant, that side of Valiant really wasn't helping me. Then I started looking into DC again. So when I got the job for Poison Ivy, I had already been talking to DC, so it was kind of happening at the same time. And I told them, I was like, I hear you're doing a Poison Ivy book. I want to do it.
Nice.
So
it was kind of like you're coming over, kind of like letting him know, hey, if I come over, this is something I want to work on.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to remember. I might have been doing covers at the time already.
Yeah, I think there were a couple Batgirl covers and a Harley cover maybe before.
Yeah, I think I even came back and did a couple covers at Marvel. Maybe, I don't remember. But I did. But they wouldn't give me. Still didn't get a raise, and I was just doing them for my old rate. But I knew I could sell the covers. It just bums me out because I know you guys are Bat Radio, but I love the X-Men more than anything.
Oh, I mean, that's just at our base, we're comic book fans. So I mean, it's not the only thing we read or pull. It's just the title that we gave ourselves because it happens to be like the main character that we love. But yeah, if you love the X-Men, and you had the opportunity to draw for it, like hell yeah, like that's pretty freaking awesome that you had that at one point as an offer. Is there were you able to ever work on anything that you were like, at least I can say that I did that at Marvel before you left?
I mean, I did my super quick run on the X-Men, but it was not a good time.
Looks like most of your X-Men stuff was like 2008 to 2010.
Well, I did X-Men Legacy for the longest time, and I did Age of X. I was doing X-Men things that weren't X-Men to me. But then I finally got like the flagship X-Men book. And then Brian Wood was kind of the hot writer. And then right before I got it, he kind of was getting like in trouble online with, something that might have happened with a female coworker. And they just trashed the book. And like I got on a book that was like falling apart.
Terrible timing.
Shit.
Yeah, it was awful. And the book had very few X-Men in it at the time, but I still had fun. I never wanted to leave. Christopher Anka and I were supposed to be the rotating artists on the book, and I saw them take him off the book to do like Wolverine, and that's why I knew if I took that bonus, I'm like, what does it matter? Because you already took Chris off, I'll probably be off, and that's when I left.
So you went from being at Marvel and working on an X-Men book that wasn't the X-Men you wanted, and then getting to DC and working on a Poison Ivy book that wasn't the Poison Ivy you wanted to do.
Shit.
But I think it's that way I think we all have, I have my own idea what Batman is.
Yeah.
And, I think everybody says it though, so it probably lines up more, but my Batman is from the cartoon. So
like the animated series?
Yeah. So, anything that fits in that world feels like my Batman.
Yeah. Wow.
So, my X-Men are, Jim Lee. So if it's not Jim Lee's roster, then, I don't know.
These are all the right answers, Clay.
Yeah.
Well,
I grew up on Jim Lee, X-Men, and Batman, the animated series.
Yeah, it's golden stuff. Clay, have you ever thought about writing as well?
I have a lot of ideas. My brother and we have ideas together too. And I pitched an idea for X-Men at Marvel.
Okay.
and I still think it would be really good.
Yeah,
maybe
maybe DC will let you do that X-Men idea as a Doom Patrol idea. Because Doom Patrol was basically the X-Men before the X-Men were the X-Men.
Yeah, well, my idea it all revolves around the bad guy, and it has to be a certain one. So,
yeah. Hey, what's the atmosphere now at DC in comparison to what you were doing over at Marvel?
I love DC. I've never experienced anything like it.
Wow.
I can't. I mean, it's insane.
Would you say it's like very creator friendly, like
yeah?
artist friendly?
I mean, I don't want to say Marvel was a horrible time. It's just
bad circumstances at the moment, maybe.
Had you juggling a lot?
Yeah, I juggle a lot, but I mean, I do that here too at DC if I'm screw up my deadline or something. But for example, and it's 30 cents, but they send you a card. They send you a blanket. I get my comps a week before. I got Marvel comps like a month ago from 2008.
Holy shit.
Holy hell.
That's right in line with what
Tom King
was talking about a while back. Yeah, where Marvel didn't send him a copy of the deluxe edition of his Vision run, and then
damn it, Barry fucked up the timeline again.
Yeah, damn it.
Marvel contacted me when I was at DC and asked me for high res black and white Star Wars stuff I did, and I said, yeah, if you send me the trade that they were going to put it in as bonus material. Never got
it. Dude, I love your Vader down connecting covers that you did. Those were awesome.
That was a nightmare too.
So is it fair to say that like right now, the stuff you're working on, like it looks like you're working with someone who has become a good friend in Tom King? Are things sort of a better time now than some of the past ordeals that you've had?
I've never really gotten to know anybody I've worked with like Tom. I mean, Tom likes me. It's one way. No, I like Tom a lot. Yeah, I've never actually. I mean, we talk on the phone, we hang out. Like it's not. I've never had that experience in comics, and yeah, I like it a lot. And it's a little more pressure because now everything I'm drawing, I'm like, does my buddy like it? Is my buddy cool with it? And before, as long as I was happy with it, that was it. So, I mean, there's that, but it's not really a big deal.
It seems as if when we see you at cons, there is like a pretty like good atmosphere going on. Like you guys all seem to get along. Everyone seems to be, interacting with each other and enjoying what they're doing. And, the fans seem to love you guys. The books are fucking great. So, it just seems to be kind of firing on all cylinders right now. It kind of seems right now like there's a golden age over at DC that we're enjoying as fans and as readers. Because, we got you on art, we got Tom writing, dudes like Miss Giraffe. Just like there's it's insane how many artists Marvel has let slip through their fingers, man. That's the one thing that I think is what DC is really showing off right now is the art and the talent that they have. And it's cool that you guys are enjoying it. So I'm glad that you guys are there and that you guys are making the work that you do. And hopefully you're not hating it too much and you keep making it for a bit. Is there anything that you haven't done at DC that you really want? Like, I got to draw this character.
Well, when I took Heroes for almost everybody I've won. I didn't grow up with DC, so I don't know a lot about them, the characters. I never thought I'd be drawing Batman.
It's crazy, yeah.
So, I mean, I already told Tom and my editor, I was like, can I please go back on Batman after Heroes in Crisis?
Nice.
And, Tom's like, sure, no problem. And, I mean, every artist who works with Tom falls in love with him and wants to work with him. So, I mean, there can only be so many artists on Batman.
Yeah, Tim Sale's in that line, too, right now. So.
It's pretty
behind
nutty.
Me. I mean, come on, Tim Sale. He's had his...
Yeah.
He's drawn in
he had his chance. He said everything he needed to say, right?
Yeah, and there's a Batman character I've been bugging Tom to write since I've met him, and he always said yes.
Two-Faced, right?
No, it's not Two-Faced. He announced it. He said it at a con the other day, or where were we? He said it out loud, so I don't care. I'll repeat it. So maybe I'll do it. But it was Phantasm.
Shit. People. And that would be amazing.
He doesn't ever believe me that it would be good, and I'm like, dude,
it would be amazing.
So many people.
Number one seller.
We had Tom on the show before Rebirth started, and he asked us, what like D-list villains we wanted him to use in his run, and we were throwing crazy names at him like Kite Man and Condiment King and stuff like that, and they're all happening. So
yeah, thanks guys.
Phantasm eventually.
Yeah, actually, Sean Murphy asked us too, and I told him Phantasm, so it'd be good.
I think I listened to that podcast, and I was really upset because if there was one person who I thought would get it, use that character, it would be him. But I mean, everybody likes that character. We got permission when right after Poison Ivy. When I was working with Tom, Dan said to me, "Who do you want to draw?"
Who do you want to draw?
Yeah, like that. And I got back to him, and I was like, Phantasm.
Yes.
And
so cool.
He actually told Tom and I, "Go ahead, do it."
Oh shit!
Like they had like when I asked first, and I was told, "No, you can't use that character," right?
Why can't you?
I don't know. Like someone said they think it was like wrapped up in like the media part of the
like
business.
Warner Brothers and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and then so I went in line to Paul Dini.
Yeah.
Paul Dini.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went in line at a con, and I didn't tell him who I was or what I do, but I was like, "Can Phantasm be in a comic book?" And he's like, "Yeah, Tom King would be good at it." And I was like, "Okay, thank you."
Wait, he said Tom King would be good at it?
He literally said Tom King or Scott Snyder. That'd be cool.
Oh,
and I was
my
like,
God.
"Okay, thank you. Bye."
That's amazing.
I went back. I think I told Tom, and I don't know who I told after that, but I was like, I asked. And then I guess they looked into it further, and that's when Dan's like, "You guys got a green light if you want to use that character."
Oh, that's so funny. It's funny because I think Bruce Timm's more of in charge of all that, so Paul's probably like, "Yeah, use whoever you want. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, Bruce Timm's involved with a lot of the animation over there, so who knows what they were. I don't think we remember was Phantasm in anything recently. I think Phantasm was in a Beyond storyline, but that was a while back.
It was the own movie, but they could do because look, they brought Harley and Terry McGinnis from animation continuity into mainstream comic book continuity, so there's no reason they can't bring Phantasm in. But it's never been done before, other than
Sean Murphy.
Phantasm.
Sean Murphy brought over Roxy Rocket and Baby Doll.
That's right.
Baby Doll, yeah.
That's right. I mean, she's been in Beyond, but I don't think aside from Beyond, the Beyond universe, she's in anywhere.
Clay, you got to do it, man. Do it before White Knight 2, man. You got this.
Dude, we'll push
First
this.
of all, if you push it, you got to act like it's a done deal. Sean can't do it because we're doing it, Sean. Sorry, Sean.
Nice.
I mean,
Hands off, Sean.
If Sean does it, it's because he heard me say it.
Oh.
And he stole it.
He's biting you.
Hey, Clay, if you do Phantasm, you have to do Grey Ghost, too.
I don't think we're in a
Happy with
position to make.
Phantasm.
We're not making demands over here. But yeah, I don't even want to mention it to Sean then, for fear of it getting in his ear.
I know you think he'll steal it too. Yeah.
Well, I really do. I think even if you tell him please don't, it'll just it's almost too late.
I've met him once, so I can't really. I do know he likes the character, but like I said, we all do, and I've been asking literally when I started back. So I've been asking for since issue 24, before 24.
Wow.
Of Batman. So was it a year? It's at least a year, right? Or two? A year and a half.
Well, Tom King's gonna get an earful again from us, isn't he, guys?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So don't worry.
Do you do anything like collectibles? Do you collect any stuff like that?
If I see it somewhere, I'll search it out online and buy it. But there's nothing I like totally like that I just straight up collect.
Yeah, us either.
There's been a couple. There's been a couple Phantasm things that came out lately that were pretty cool. Like there's a mini bust, with the full mask and everything on, and the claw hand up in the air. And then a second version of it just came out where she has the mask in her hand and she's pulling the hood back. So those two are pretty cool.
You know what you got to do, Clay, is you got to just keep the rumor going that you can't use the character, even though it's a false rumor.
There you go. So everyone else thinks that we're not
just
allowed.
perpetuate that rumor. We'll even keep it going for you. We'll tell you, I don't know, Sean. I mean, it'd be great if you did, but I don't think you can. We talked to Paul Dini about it.
Yeah.
So
but
you're
gonna put
Sean
this.
Doesn't care.
Pretty sure
Sean will
this.
just do it.
Oh, if he listens to this episode, we're kind of fucked. You're right.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. Good night, guys.
The only way this is gonna work
hasn't
is
been
if
Clay
we.
Man. This has been Seth Man.
Yeah. The only way this is gonna work is if we recast Phantasm as a male and cast it as Michael B. Jordan in the next film.
There you go.
No.
He's like, no.
Look, Tom said he would do it already. Dan said we could do it. Tom mentioned it wherever I just did his panel with him, a spotlight panel. Is that San Diego, I think, and the crowd went crazy. And
wow!
So it's done.
It's done. Deal. Right.
Yeah, you have it.
You have it.
It's done. It's
That's
breaking
amazing.
exclusive on Bat Force Radio right now. We just want to congratulate Clay Mann on the upcoming project that he and Tom King are going to be working on with the Phantasm on the Batman series. So
On Black Label.
Yeah.
Tom King and Clay Mann are working on it, not Sean Murphy.
Not Sean. Oh, we love you, Sean. No. It's like the space race now, isn't it? But,
no, it's not a space race because, like I said,
you're shooting down the shuttle.
The race is over right now.
You guys are gonna do that character so much justice. It's never been done before. I mean, the Batman Adventure comics don't count because that was like still animated series, but like Phantasm and continuity has never been done before. That's exciting, man.
And regular Batman continuity.
And she's like that. She's like a female Reaper version. She's so badass. So. Oh man!
And really it's sort of a perfect time for her to come around too, with Selena just having split from Batman.
Yeah.
To have Andrea come in the picture.
The rebound.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoulder to cry on, shoulder to mist on, really.
With that hook.
Yeah. I need to finish Heroes in Crisis first, guys. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got.
So yeah, that's this week, and this almost is timed perfectly. I mentioned this to you earlier when we were talking. We'll actually be reading our review copies of Heroes in Crisis.
SD story, or just a book where a bunch of people die. It can't make anybody happy. It seems like so. It's fun, and I don't know. I'm just along for the ride too. I'm just not
it's
much
funny
of a sales pitch.
Tom sort of luckily Tom's a good salesman. That's why he gets to go on the late night talk shows. But Tom, I've heard Tom refer to this. You went along on that to the show, right?
I did. I was there.
Oh,
it's funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've heard Tom say that this is sort of your story, like that this is your thing happening.
Well, we're in trouble.
Did you have any comic book artists that were very inspirational to you, or like inspired you to become one? Like, who were the guys that you made you want to become a comic book artist?
Early on, Jim Lee, Eric Larson, Rob Liefeld. I don't care what anybody says about him. He's awesome.
I hear good things about him a lot, like specifically from.
Do you want to
Jason
hear?
Babbitt.
I'll tell you a good thing
says
about
very
him.
good things about.
Yeah,
Rob.
I want to hear some good things about him.
Are you the one who got my cover wrong?
Yeah.
I love the Ivy stuff.
Okay, that's enough. I got the one I wanted. Okay, so I'm I'm in LA doing a signing. I don't even know, some comic book company. I can't even think of the name. They flew me there. I was like, I don't even know how I got there. It was amazing. But I'm hearing people like Charles bash Rob Liefeld and all this stuff. And it's in the middle of a comic book shop, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I'm like, I don't care if you think he can't draw now, but back in the day, there's no denying he was a superstar, and his stuff was great for people my age growing up. Like, you know, and I just sat there and I defended him, and I'm like, because I love this stuff, you know, whether it holds up or not, that doesn't matter. But at the time, it was a big deal for me. And it had a lot to do with me getting into comics. And I guess the owner of the bookstore told him this. I guess Rob shops there. And I get a full splash comic book, like a nice one. Like he drew me, because we were talking about Shatterstar, and I've got like a splash of Shatterstar, and like a beautiful picture, and he wrote "Long live the '90s," and then it's to me.
Wow!
Because I defended him in a comic book store.
That's fucking awesome.
All right. Oh, that's.
But yeah, awesome. And it can't be argued that, you know, no matter what people think of him now, at least back then, even still today, but definitely back then, the dude was a superstar. Like, he would be doing signings at shops and have like guys from NWA come in to get him to sign books and things.
Yeah, dude.
Like Ice Cube?
Yeah. And if you watch that like Image documentary, I mean, like, if there was one guy who pulled the most weight, I would say it was him. Like, it didn't sound like, I mean, I'm just basing this off my memory of the documentary, but like Jim Lee had to be like pulled there, you know, like, but Rob Liefeld was the guy who's like, we can do it. This is how, you know, like.
It definitely changed.
And he also has like one of the coolest stories ever. At that time where they were talking about when he was on his way out of Image, and the rest of the Image crew were having that meeting at the hotel. They rented a room in a hotel to have their meeting, and he rented the room beside them and listened under the door to what they were saying. That's the most gangster thing I've ever heard.
He's a genius.
It's amazing.
But anyway, I like him. As a kid, he was super inspirational to me. Jim Lee, Eric Larson, all the Image guys, most of them anyway. And then later on...
Not a big fan of McFarlane?
No, I was.
Okay.
Yeah, McFarlane. And then later on, I kind of like... I liked the idea of comics, and I was probably watching the cartoons, but I probably wasn't buying comics until I was in a Walmart. And this is why comics should be at stores. But I walked past a rack and saw a Joe Mad cover to an X-Men, and I picked it up, and then I fell in love with his art. And then it sort of got me back into comics, and then just got big on J. Scott Campbell and all those people. I mean, my list is so unoriginal. It's whatever, like the majority of people. You know, there's a reason these guys are huge, because they've just made a lasting impression on so many people.
Is there anything that that you feel like smacking Tom King for making you draw so far? Like, just, you know, you say that's a lot of work for you. Is there anything that you read in the script and you're like, God damn it?
No, I mean, I like to pick on Tom, but I mean, no writer. He's like, for example, he called me up a couple weeks ago and he wanted to go page by page through the script. He's like, can I make this easier? Can I make this easier? I mean, no writer's ever done that to me. He calls me his brother all the time and things like that. And I'm not super personable like that, but that, you know, that means a lot to me. And I really like Tom a lot. And he's a great guy, but cut that all out.
That's hilarious.
Are we supposed to record any of it?
I think he has some buddies he talks to, which I've been super rude to, apparently. Like, I'm just not a people person, and I guess you know, that's another reason I like Tom, is because he gave me the time to get to know him. You know, like, he was I don't know a lot of people in the business, because when I go to like a Marvel party back when I worked there, or, anything that has to do with comics, I'm the guy, I'm the wallflower. Like I can't talk. I don't know what to say. I'm embarrassed. I'm shy. And like with Tom, that's over, and I can just be myself, and it's a lot of fun. That's why I love hanging out with him, because I don't have to be like that anymore. And man, this business is a lot better if you can actually talk, which is a shame because I've just now found that out. But yeah, I told one of his friends, I guess he came up at my table, and I told him, I stuck my hand in his face and said, pause. And I'm like, I wouldn't do that. And then like Tom's telling me that I did it. And I was like, there's no way I did that. And then like the next con, I did something just like that in front of Tom to somebody else. And I was like, maybe I don't mean it. Like, I'm also very sarcastic. So like if I'm doing that, it's like maybe it's a joke in my head or something. But I guess the guy was like really not happy and thought I was not a great guy. But
I would have just said like unpause.
Like
I
would have said DVR.
Yeah. Continue to talk at you.
Maybe you're just a Saved by the Bell fan, Zach Morris fan, and you just do timeouts all the time.
I wish we could all do that sometimes in our daily lives. At least Clay has the balls to do it, to just pause people, man.
To a pause to take a minute to study his cover art references.
Yeah, see, he didn't mean it. He just doesn't know how to talk to the creator sometimes, Clay. You know what I mean?
I get nervous, man. Really nervous. So.
No,
the real question is, did that guy actually pause when you said it?
That's the burning question.
He's probably dumbfounded.
He's still standing there to this day because you never told him.
Another story.
He's still on pause.
There's another story. I don't know if you remember this, but we were actually talking about it right before you came on, where we were in San Diego, and we came to, I think it was you and Tom and maybe Mitch were signing, and we were coming around, and Tom was doing like one of his sketch covers for Jason, who's actually on right now, and we were filming it, and like Tom is like doing like Catwoman and Batman stick figures, and then he says something, and then you were like, "That's a horrible female nose," and then he's like, "Why you gotta like hate on my female nose?" And so we're just like chapping it up with you guys or whatever, and then we leave, and our other buddy like walked up to you at some point. I guess the line had been capped, and he walks up to you and he goes, "Listen, man, like I didn't get a wristband. The line's capped. I just have a few things to get signed. I was with those guys in the Bat Force a little bit earlier. Is it okay if I just like kind of jump in line?" And you looked at him like deadpan, was just like, "You got 5 minutes, buddy."
Yeah, teases.
Yes.
That was.
Oh man.
Didn't he say something like, "I can't believe you're doing this to me right now"?
That we all had a good belly laugh about that one.
That was nice. That was nice. You'd hook him up though, as one of our guys. And appreciate it.
Yeah,
sure. So.
You didn't have to do it, and you're a damn good person for giving him shit when you did.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but the next time someone comes up and asks for a favor referencing us, please ask them to pause.
Yeah, I love that. Well, then that answers the superhero question that we usually do in the lightning round. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? Would be the pause.
Yeah,
I know the question to this. I know the answer. I know the answer to this.
Yeah.
Okay,
well let's hit the lightning round.
I lost a job for this stupid question.
Oh shit!
Okay, so what would your superpower be?
Time. I'd control time.
Yeah.
Well, when you're asked that question on a speed round, like which it was, I was in a group of people and we're all at this job, and that was like the question, and it got to me, and I love comics, and I'm like, there's no better person you could ask this to, but I took it way too seriously, and I'm like, really? 30 seconds is all I get? Like, I need time to think about this, and that was it. That was my moment. They passed me. I didn't even get to answer.
Wow.
But I've thought about it since, and it would probably be control time.
That's the most common, I think, for creators. That's the one thing that you never have enough of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely. You do a lot.
I think my favorite story still for needing more time was David Finch talking about when he was working on Avengers, and he back at the time he was always struggling with meeting his deadlines, and they sort of gave him a last shot. It was like, okay, we're going to give you this title to work on. If you mess up on your deadlines, we got to let you go, kind of thing. So he gets the issue done. It's ready, like, the night before he has to send it off. So he's got it all done, and he lays all the pages out, and he's just doing, a final check, making sure everything's right, looking page to page. And while he's doing that check with all the pages laid out on the table, he knocks over his coffee. And it spills across most of the pages. Like, okay, well, I have 12 hours before I have to submit this. So either I can start it all over again and try to do this entire issue in 12 hours, or I can cover the rest of the pages in coffee and submit all the pages with a sepia tone. So he ended up submitting all these sepia pages.
That's a fucking nightmare, dude.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yep. So much going on.
Hey, if you could have dinner with one person, any human being in the history of mankind, dead or alive, who would it be?
Tom Selleck.
Wow.
Alive.
Nice.
Wow.
Alive. I'm not going. Come on, I can't tell you my favorite movie. I can't go through all of time and pick the one person. Alive, Tom Selleck, I think.
That's amazing.
Nice.
Peanut, M&M's, plain or peanut? I mean,
Peanut.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pizza, regular New York style or Chicago deep dish?
Regular.
Take that trunk wherever you.
Burgers, Shake Shack or In-N-Out?
I live in Florida.
I don't think that's the best answer we've gotten for that question, actually.
No, I've been bothering you for a long time to come on and do this, and we really appreciate that you did take the time to put yourself out there now and come and do it.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun. Get rid of Charles next time. But I mean, do you want Olivier's number? I think I have it.
I still love
just became my favorite guest ever.
Keep the phantasm thing. If you mention it, has Clay's name with it.
Hey Gotham dwellers, make sure to stop everything right now and subscribe to Bat Force Radio. We can be found on iTunes and SoundCloud. Don't miss out. Guaranteed to satisfy all of your Batman and DC needs.